Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer of the Navy, Gary White. We are honoured to acknowledge Her Excellency Dr. Anna Prinz, Ambassador, Embassy of Germany, as well as Major General Dr. Ansgar Reichs, Director, German Military Aviation Authority, and the accompanying German delegation. We warmly welcome the Honourable Bruce Scott and Mr. Ben Maguire. We also acknowledge the members of the Royal Australian Navy Communication Branch Association who are joining us for the ceremony today. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the ceremony broadcast around Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors as well as students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Binnabar Public School. From South Australia, Concordia College. From Tasmania, Montague Bay Primary School. And from Victoria, Melton South Primary School. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you, students. You may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to telegraphist Cyril Lefroy Baker. Cyril Baker was born in Launceston, Tasmania on the 29th of November 1892 to John Baker, a miner, and Mary Alberta Elizabeth Baker, known as Bertie. Cyril was the fifth of 10 children and was affectionately known as Buds by his family. A month before his 19th birthday, Cyril Baker joined the Navy. His ambition was to become a telegraphist. He served on HMAS Protector for 2 years in order to undergo training, and on the 22nd of January 1913, he passed his training to take on the rank of ordinary telegraphist. Within a year of his enlistment, Baker sported a heart and spear tattoo on his right forearm and a kangaroo and flag on his left. In February 1914, the first of the Royal Australian Navy's new submarines were commissioned into service. AE-1 and her sister ship, AE-2, left England together, reaching Australia on the 24th of May. Just over 2 months later, Britain was at war with Germany, and so was Australia. One of the first acts of the Australian government following the outbreak of war was to arrange for a volunteer force called Australian Naval Military Expeditionary Force to seize German colonies in New Guinea and the Southwest Pacific. Baker was appointed telegraphist on AE-1 and joined the expedition. At 7 a.m. on the 14th of September, AE-1 left base to patrol along the coast near the Duke of York Islands and failed to return. The submarine had been accompanied by HMAS Parramatta, which was conducting its own patrol at the same time, but conditions were extremely hazy and it was difficult to keep sight of the submarine. Despite extensive searches, no trace of AE-1 was ever found. It was surmised that the vessel had been sunk on a reef or other submerged formation. The only option was to conclude that AE-1 was lost with all hands. Telegraphist Cyril Baker was one of those men. He was 21 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, along with more than 60,000 others from the First World War. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember telegraphist Cyril Lefroy Baker, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They have no grave but the cruel sea, no flowers lay at their head. A rusting hulk is their tombstone, fast on the ocean bed. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.